Hi everyone, welcome to this new session on SQL. So today we'll be discussing about triggers. Okay, now if we try to understand what are triggers. Okay. So earlier we did discuss about stored procedures and views. Today we'll be discussing about triggers. So if you try to understand what is a trigger, so basically a trigger is a special kind of stored procedure that automatically executes in response to certain events on a table, such as insert, update, or delete. So triggers basically enforce business rules, maintain audit logs, and ensure data integrity, and they are automatically fired by the database engine, so you don't have to call them directly. So they will be they will be fired through some activity or through some event. Okay, now creating a trigger is straightforward. So considering if we talk about the logic, so it is create trigger and then trigger name. Suppose I'll give trg, sorry, after return insert on returns table. On returns. Okay. um Now when to do that? So after insert. Okay, so it will trigger this particular on returns after there is a insert as. Okay, so what it will trigger? Begin print return entry was made. Okay, and then we go with end. So this is basically to end the trigger. Okay, now once I do that, I have to execute. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the trigger has been completed. Now for executing them, if it's for views, we can directly or simply run select star from a view name. Okay, or else if it's a stored procedure, we can run the procedure name and parameters. Then it will, whenever there is an insert in a particular statement, then it will trigger it. Okay, and then for triggers, sorry, return. So let me see if I am having um, a stored procedure for returns, insert order. Okay. Um, okay, let me see the columns. I can create one insert. Okay. Um, okay. So this is what we're getting. Now, if I want to execute a return, insert. So insert into returns. value. I have to provide test. Okay. In test. Um, okay. Okay. So if I just go ahead and execute, so it's been executed. So let me comment and check. Okay, so this is the new entry. Okay, so if I'm directly making an entry, okay, so by doing that, I will not get the output of a trigger. Okay, so in the trigger, so basically it will execute only when we are creating or executing it through a stored procedure. So what I'll do, I'll create a stored procedure. Okay, I'll call it as create procedure. Um, Run update as begin. Then the statement, I don't need any parameters. Then end. Okay, so this is my procedure. Okay, so this procedure will basically execute this statement. Okay, so now if I want to execute return update. Okay, so now if I execute, see the output entry was made. So I did not use this one. Our return entry was made. So in my trigger, so R return. So I should have used after return. Okay. I mean, whatever statement is there in the print, it is displaying that. Okay. R return entry was made. So every time I execute a stored procedure, it will display this particular message. Okay. Now, another use case, let's go ahead and look at few use cases for triggers. So basically, I will not be, um, I mean, I'll not be using anything as a stored procedure, but yeah, we can do that. So let's see. Okay. Now, our very first use case is I will maintain the structure as it is. Okay, the structure of the trigger. Okay. The very first case is I want to create a trigger to log returns on insert. Okay, so whenever there is I mean, whenever there is insert, so I want to create logs. Okay, now for that I have to create a table first. Okay, now to create a table, so basically I'll create table. Table name I'll call it as audit log. Okay, so this is the way of creating table. Now I have to provide the columns. Okay, the very first column will be e event. Okay, which will be okay, I have to put it everything in brackets. Okay, now event as varchar 10 characters, and then I want to also create another column event date. Okay, I want to maintain varchar. Okay, later I can convert it to a date time, or else if I want to change the I mean data type also, I can use date time. Okay, it's also possible. Okay. Now, even before going that, I just want to make sure of something. Select returns. If I want to exit, I just want to see what it is returning. So it's giving me data memory format. Okay, that is fine. Okay. So I'm creating a table. Okay. Audit log, two columns. One is varchar and the second one is date time. Okay. Now, once I have this information, so let me just create the table first. Okay. So now I have created the table. So if I just do a select star from audit log, okay, an empty table. Okay. Now, let me comment this part. Okay. Now, let's create our trigger. Okay. So create trigger trg after return insert. Okay. After return trg after return insert. It's already an existing trigger with this name. So I'll use trg after return insert v1. Okay. Um, on returns after insert as begin. So insert into, so log. Okay. Now, so there are two columns. I don't need to define the columns. Insert into log values. First value, I'll keep something static, returned, entered. And then, so get date is another function which will just return current date and time. Whatever the system date and time we have, it will return that value. Get date. Okay. So get date is normally represented as this start bracket and end bracket. Okay. And then that's it. So we will end. Okay. And after this insert also we terminate, use a terminate. So insert as returns. Okay. Uh, Looks good. So now if I go ahead and execute, so our trigger is completed. So TRG after returns insert V1. Okay. So now if I go ahead and insert something, okay. So now if you see, select, select star from audit underscore. Okay. It's giving me empty. Okay. Now, if I just go ahead and execute the procedure, which is basically inserting some values into this returns table. Okay. Now, Let me see what was the name of that procedure. Return update. Execute return update. Okay, confirm the name. Return update. Okay, yeah. So now if you go ahead and execute, so 10 characters, right? So I've used 10 characters. Okay, that's fine. So now if I go ahead and look at the statement, select star from, okay, so because I have used more than 10 characters, that's why I'm using this. Okay, that's fine. I'll fix this. So I'll update trigger. So I'll just update the trigger. Already now object. One second, let me just see, like, for updating a trigger, what needs to be done. We can, any which we can drop it and recreate it. I mean, drop it by the meaning of drop it, basically we can delete it. So basically script as drop, if we use that, so it will be drop trigger name. Okay. We can do that, but yeah, I'll just use something like alter. Okay. um okay, so I'll use alter, yeah, I'll use something like this. Okay, alter trigger name, and then on returns, and then same after. I'll use this one completely. Okay. Alter trigger name on returns after insert, as begin insert audit. This looks good. So I'll just use something small I'll use returned. Okay. Good. It's successful. So now let me execute the stored procedure again. Yeah. What's that? Execute. One second. This. Okay. Update. Let me confirm the name. Date. Um, Return update. Sorry. Execute. Return update. So now if we execute. Okay. So one row affected in audit logs table. So now if we go and look at select star from. Okay, so value has been inserted with the date and time. So how, doesn't matter like how many times you will be executing the stored procedure. Every time you execute the stored procedure, basically a record will be logged, which will show you how many times you have executed that stored procedure. So this is how basically triggers will work. So with this, we will end up our SQL sessions. So thank you very much for watching the videos. Please do like, subscribe for more such videos. Thank you so much.